And on today's show, the Middle America Marketing Mindset, part 4 of this week's series on marketing to Middle America, with top of the table and Forum 400 producer Jim Silbernagel. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician and Innsmouth. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to day 4, Jim.
Hey, glad to be back again.
Well, we're sitting in Middle America where you rule as really the mentor of this. You know, you really have this down. And I want to, again, just reassert if you've missed any of our shows, and if you say, Steve, I'm coming in on Thursday's show, just hop up back out to our site at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. Look at it in sequence. I think it'll be better for your tutorial experience. Go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're saying, I can't believe Jim's doing such production. Forum 400, MDRT, top of the table, lifetime member. He has a show for NAFA. He has a show for his own podcast that he does for his own clients. And it's Middle America in a very small town in Wisconsin. I'm wondering, how is he doing it? This is why we're doing this show. It's for you. We want to say you can do serious production if you're willing to go Jim's way. Jim has a lot of processes in place, and he really believes in client touch. That's a big one for you. Let's talk about today. We're talking about this aspect of when I'm talking about a mindset. How do you define real wealth?
Real wealth?
Real wealth.
Well, the way we've defined it is it's how a person defines it. It goes way beyond money. It's having richness in life, not riches in life. So it's having a meaningful life and making a meaningful, positive difference on people.
Now, earlier in the week, we talked about meeting with family, meeting with the entire family. And you said it can be uncomfortable. And I'm thinking, okay, Steve Savant hasn't done this yet with his family. So I'm thinking, how uncomfortable could it be? Well, you do family meetings. You found it to be extremely valuable. And not only that, but you have instant referrals. You're into the next generation.
You bet.
Talk a little bit about why it's important to put this into your mindset as an advisor.
Well, I think it's almost our obligation. I mean, what are we doing this planning for? Is it all just for mom and dad? Is it for the kids? I mean, if you're buying life insurance and you're naming the kids as beneficiaries or IRAs, shouldn't you be meeting with them so they can be good stewards? When I see the statistics, you know, the average retirement account is done in 6 to 8 months when the non-spousal beneficiary gets it. I mean, they think, well, time to buy a new car and move on. And the parents, I have yet to talk to a parent that says, yeah, as soon as we pass away, we want our kids all to get new cars with the IRA money. So, you know, they'd like to see that help them. So, and today, you know, when I talk to parents and we talk about these family meetings, you know, I let them know. I said, do your kids are going to have more challenges than you did. Are they saving as much as you are? And they kind of laugh. And it's not that the kids are bad, you know, and that they weren't taught well. I mean, they don't have defined benefit plans the way the parents have. Social Security's in doubt. You look at what they're paying for health insurance, property taxes, income taxes, cost of living. Their ability to save for the future isn't what their parents were. And I tell the parents, I said, look, if you want them to be good stewards, you know, you need to be good stewards first. And if we have you where you have a comfortable retirement, you're not going to spend your last dollar the day you die. You know, you are going to leave something to the kids. So if we're going to leave something to them, shouldn't we make sure that they understand your mindset and that we work together as a family so that they can be as good as stewards with what you've worked so hard for?
How many meetings, Jim? It's not a one and I'm done. I mean, you must have a couple of these, right? So I start my first one. It's probably a little uncomfortable. People aren't really being open. How many meetings do I have to go through before I really accomplish what I'm trying to do as a planner?
Well, usually I'll set the table in the beginning. So what we'll usually have is maybe 3-4 appointments made right away. I used to say, okay, you know, let's get this done, then call me. I'll set an appointment. All of a sudden it's 4 months later and we're starting over again. You know, so what I'll do is I tell people, look, I'll understand their complexities in the beginning in that first meeting. In that first meeting, I'll determine I need 2 more meetings, 3 more meetings, whatever it is. And that's also where I set the stage is once we get through this planning process, then we're going to have that family meeting.
Now, I'm going to bring up something that seems so obvious, but you have this so incorporated into the way you think. You talk about, you know, birthday greetings, Thanksgiving greetings, holiday greetings, and I'm thinking, like, doesn't everybody have this on their database in their tickler file? Don't they just send this out autopilot?
Yeah.
But they don't. And this is where we kind of bypass the obvious marketing touches that you're so famous for. Talk a little bit about why this is such a big deal in your practice.
Well, it's all about the relationship. People want to know that you care. And So the touches that we do, one is our podcast. That's a weekly touch. And in that, we're encouraging people to send it to the people that they care about as well. So
And they do that.
You betcha.
Yeah.
So we're getting those on a regular basis. I mean, birthdays, all these ideas, of course, we stole from things like MDRT and things like that. But we saw news from the past I thought that was pretty neat. And we kind of mix it up because it's not just on their birthday. It gives prices and the famous movies and all that. It's kind of neat. And we saw clients that actually would frame that and put it on their fridge or whatever. So we send that out. We heard at a meeting once, everybody gets Christmas cards from everybody and their brothers. So send them a Thanksgiving card and thank them for their business.
Because it's unique.
It's unique. So we're always looking for ways to make us different than everybody else. And I've been in a couple different study groups, and it's interesting. A lot of these guys do the wine tasting and these big seminars and all that. We just don't do them. We look at the expense of that, and what does that really do? We give them meaningful things of what our business relationship is about, and we're just doing that on a regular basis. One other thing I'll just share, too, that's been very effective, and I've actually delegated this, I hate to admit, but on my clients' birthdays, my staff calls them and just says, hey, Jim wanted to make sure you wish you a happy birthday. Now, I try to do that myself, and with scheduling and everything else, I probably got 4 or 5 people a day to call. Well, that's pretty hard when you got a fully scheduled day to get to each one of them. So I have my staff do it, and they just love the fact that it's being done. So something simple like that, you don't even have to do it yourself. Just make sure you instruct your staff to do it.
It's an endearing tactic, and it's a strategy that Jim's deployed throughout his entire practice. It's huge, and we need to do it because I know you're not doing it. Okay. So when we come back from the break, we're going to talk more about some of these marketing mindsets that you need to have if you want to play in Middle America. We'll be right back after the break. Back in the day, life insurance professionals were called field underwriters. Then, carriers trained their field force in the basics of life insurance underwriting. Today, the insurance industry doesn't educate the agent population as they once did. But now you can have the Informed Risk Guide at your fingertips so you can illustrate a reasonable rate class for your life insurance prospects. Just request your copy of the Informed Risk Guide at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. It's free from Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to the second segment. Jim, I'm looking at a laundry list of other things that you're into, but this is the one I really like the best right now. Let's get right into it. Director of First Impressions. I'm thinking, I watched a Star Trek episode entitled First Contact.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about remembering how that, what do you mean by you're the director of First Impressions?
Well, I'm not. I have a staff person.
Of course, yeah.
So, all good ideas are stolen. And I actually stole this one from Leo Wells with the Wells Real Estate Group. That's what he had a vice president of First Impressions, and
that's all they did.
That's all they did. They were the first line of defense when people walked in or made a call. So we decided to incorporate that in our office, and we've been very fortunate. We had one person that really owned it, and then because of health reasons, she had to step down. We had another person come in who owns it just as much, and what they do is it's their job, it's their responsibility to know who's coming in that day. And with technology today, it's really easy to do this stuff. So she will make a note of whatever they order, because we have crystal glasses that we serve our drinks in. We have gourmet cookies. We spend a little bit extra for it, but we have gourmet cookies and candy on a crystal platter that's in the room. And when she goes and seats them, she'll even say, okay, now, did you want Diet Coke again, or would you prefer tea this time, or whatever? But she takes the time to make sure she knows who they are and what they've ordered in the past, and we keep a record of that to make them feel welcome and at home.
Well, Google's doing this right on a large, grand scale of analytics. You're doing it on the personal touch.
Yeah.
How big is that to your practice?
Oh, it's just huge.
It's these little things, right?
Yes.
I think we've missed it as advisors. We're sitting there managing, balance sheets, right? Net worth statements, retirement modeling, and all these touches are what brings people back. And how much of this can you say, Steve, this is referrals too? This really helps them.
Oh, absolutely. If you ask your clients, to explain the financial modeling that you did for their retirement and what are they invested in, they can't repeat it back to you. You could tell them till you're blue in the face. They really don't care. but what they care is that you care about them. And those are ways we can show it. Now, we back it up. I mean, we do service what we do. It's not just all fluff. We mean what we're doing. So, taking that time to understand them and what's important to them and being organized with that just makes a huge difference.
So now you're director of First Impressions, really, because starting to get to know them, playing to those issues, whatever their lifestyles, you get to know the client, and then all of a sudden they have kind of a dossier on the client that has nothing to do with money.
Absolutely. And one thing, when they come into the office, now we usually like to get them seated pretty quickly, but sometimes things get backed up a little bit. We have several conference rooms, but even the magazines, I stole this idea, what do most advisors have in there? Fortune 400 and, all these different magazines. Well, I learned that people would rather read Reader's Digest or Outdoor Life or things that are lifestyle things. So we completely turn that around and put those types of things in there. And again, the gal that does the job there, she's fantastic, has a great personality and engages the clients and makes them feel welcome. I can't emphasize enough how important it is, because my clients come to me and they say, boy, that's really, you've got a good one there. And they say that about all our staff.
Wow. And now, how big is your staff?
Well, right now, we got different things that are going on. We have property and casualty, as we talked about earlier. We have the insurance business. We have one junior advisor. He's a CFP, and he's being incorporated into our practice. And then my business partner and I each have 2 fully licensed staff. We have our vice president of First Impressions, director of First Impressions, and then we have a couple people working in our property and casualty business. And then our wives even do a little bit here and there, and they help out and when we need help. And I got a couple kids that are helping out, and my business partner and his kids come in, help with the Thanksgiving mailer and the birthday greetings. So
now you also incorporate in your practice with this staff as some of its part family, it's neighbors that have become people that you've really appreciated. You have a family. Your staff is pretty family.
Yes.
Talk about, you're in the planning. You got 2 issues going on here that I can see. It's another touch. I'm doing tax planning for the end of the year, right? And also you're talking about delivering, I'm just trying to think of how this is done, delivering 1040s to your client. I mean, you're not mailing it back to her, right?
No.
Talk about that.
It's a mad dash. I mean, our busy time is usually about October 15th to April 15th, where we just crank it. But not all the clients need a year-end meeting, but that's critical. You identify the clients, the business clients, the farmers, people that might have an opportunity for a Roth conversion or whatever. We usually try to identify those clients and have those year-end planning meetings. The delivering of the tax returns, I can't begin to say how important that is. It tells such a story of what's going on. So most accountants will mail out or come pick up your returns. Well, again, this is collaboration with professionals. We've worked it out with the accounting firm that will deliver our clients' returns, and they pay for the reports that come with that. Where the flags are, what they saved by making these contributions to their retirement account, what they could have done, that they could have maybe saved a couple more bucks, and we go through that with the clients. Now, what ends up becoming out of that, a lot of clients, retirement planning is a snapshot. Okay, I guess I got $1,000 this year. I'll put 1,000 in. They're not proactive throughout the course of the year. Well, this gives us a chance to really reinforce what we're doing. Do a year-end, do an annual planning meeting where we're covering their taxes, we're covering where their accounts are at year-end, and reviewing all the issues. And it's a marathon, but it's definitely worth it, and it makes a difference for the clients.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas that we talk about on the show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just hop out to our site, downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you tomorrow.